edition over a special edition. It's not the Hilula, but I want to speak about Rabbi Avraham Gershon Mקיטוב. Zecher Tzaddik Lebracha was a great Kabbalist of his time. I think very much, let's just say, I think from the city or the area of Kuti, I think in Poland. He was born in 1701 and passed away in the year 1761 in Jerusalem. Now, we usually concentrate on the great, let's say, North African Sephardi Chachamim, but this was a great rabbi who very much would have a huge part in the famous Yeshivat Bet El, and was the Talmid of the Rosh HaKadosh, Rabbi Shalom, Shar'abi, one of the great rabbis, Yemenite rabbis of his time, and we've spoken about it on various occasions before. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. So, as we said, he was born in the year 1701. He's best known to have been the brother-in-law of the famous Baal Shem Tov. He was from a great rabbinic family. Rav Avraham Gershon was a descendant, reported over possibly, of Rab Shabtai Kohen, who is known also popularly as a Shach, which is abbreviation for the Shach. The Shach himself lived between the years 1625 to 1663. His commentaries are very much inside the code of Jewish law, the Shulchan Aruch. Now, both him, Rav Avraham Gershon, and his father, Rav Avraham Brody, served in one of the 4 Beit Dins of Brody, respectively. It was here that he and his father very much encountered and met the famous Baal Shem Tov, one of the great rabbis of modern history of the last few hundred years. According to the early Hasidic work called the Shivchei HaBeshet, his father gave his blessing of marriage for his sister Achana to the Baal Shem Tov. That was, I think, at the time when he passed away. And once Rav Avraham passed away, Rav Avraham Gershon was unaware, let's just say, of this secret betrothal until the Baal Shem Tov revealed the engagement contract. This was reported over, actually using Wikipedia as a source for this over here. Now, Rav Avraham Gershon would rise, let's just say, to a great status, a powerful position within the Jewish community of Brody. This was Brody's place. I think we haven't really spoken much. I think it's actually in Zolochiv, I think in Western Ukraine, in modern day, respectively, for a time Besht, and was very much connected to the famous Baal Shem Tov. He's represented in a very, very lofty way, upper class way, and was very close, let's say, and had obviously in strong realms of his brother-in-law, respectively. And okay, so that's very interesting. We can say other interesting things. I think eventually he would settle in Mejbish, I think, at one stage in time. And it was revealed, I think, the famous Baal Shem Tov's brilliance and scholarship. Avraham Gershon will actually find out at a later stage. Initially, he probably didn't see the Baal Shem Tov in the high realms, but afterwards he realized he was like the wondrous, and the amazement of the Baal Shem Tov, and the amount of admirers he had was absolutely incredible. Now, come what the year 1745, Rav Avraham Gershon was, let's just say, involved in various different cases inside various different vicinities, and very much was reported that he would have strong governmental connections over there. And but I think at that point in time there was other different issues. This would actually result him to actually go away with the Baal Shem Tov to in Medjbich. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And I think at that point in time there was new Hasidic thoughts that were coming about, and there was let's just say, the subject of the traditional Lurian liturgy. The Baal Shem Tov will entrust his brother-in-law, the great rabbi, with education of his only son, Rav Tzvi, was reported over. Come with the year 1747, Rav Avraham Gershon would actually travel to Jerusalem, and he was one of the first Hasidim to establish a presence in Jerusalem, in the holy city. He would actually encounter the famous Rosh HaKadosh, Rav Shalom Shar'abi, who I believe at that point in time was a Rosh Yeshiva of famous Yeshivat Bet El, and they were together students in Kabbalah. He would live 6 years in Hebron, and in 1753 he would move to Jerusalem, and was very much associated with the famous Yeshivat Bet El, a place we've spoken about on various occasions before. This Yeshivat Bet El, I think, was built has been about for many hundreds of years. It was established in the year 1737, so only about 10, 15 years, let's just say, at that point in time when when the Baal Shem Tov's brother, Rabbi Avraham Gershon, would actually arrive there, and many great Rosh Yeshivas. At that point in time, I think both the Rosh Yeshivot would have been a window of time. Rav Gedalia Chayon was still 1750, and Rav Shalom Sharabi will start his Rosh Yeshiva tenureship in 1751. So pretty much the whole time Rav Gershon was there, Rav Shalom Sharabi was a very, very famous yeshiva. We already actually dedicated an entire video with regards to the history of the Yeshivat Bet El, respectively. When he was in Hebron, he was very much well respected and appreciated by the Sephardic Rabbonim. I think because there weren't many Ashkenazim at that point in time, he was, he really was able to integrate in the Sephardi community. And I think it was different, because obviously the same minhagim wasn't there. He would travel to Jerusalem, I think, in 1749, and I think there will be a famous Hebron letter which he will write, which let's just say he would be speaking about his time periods and memoirs of what actually occurred. When he was, I think at that point in time, there was a small active Ashkenazi community in Jerusalem, only about 50 people at the time period when he would join Yeshivat Bet El. And obviously he would study with the Rosh Kadosh. And I think at that point in time, there was at least 15 famous rabbis at that point in time, the famous Yeshivat Bet El at that point in time. And there was very much close connection over there. Now, I believe he passed away in 1761, it was, and he was buried in Har HaZeitim. And so we're talking about nearly about 270 years ago from the time of recording. They say that after the Six-Day War, his tombstone will be discovered, and it wrote down on tombstone of Rabbi Avraham Gershon Ashkenazi. I think he passed away on the 20th of Adar Aleph, it was. And now the Mקיטוב Street in Jerusalem, I think, is named after him. He left many great descendants, which we mentioned about before, including his son, Rav Moshe, who I think would live in Ladishin. I don't think he would actually emigrate to the land of Israel. His son Rav Yitzchak, his Chatan, Rav Aaron. He would have a son, Rav Chaim Aaron, also, who would live in Jerusalem, I think, afterwards. Maybe he was in Tiberias also. He passed away in 1773. He had, I think, a son, Yakir, and I believe he passed away in Jerusalem in 1778. His daughter, Esther, she was the wife of Rav Avraham Rovin, I think, and then his son, Rav Avraham Fischel. He would have a son, Rav Yehuda Leib, I think, who passed away in the year 1793. Another one of his chatans was Rav Moshe Yosef, who was Magid Mesharim, I think, in Mezbasis, respectively. I think his daughter-in-law, very, very interesting enough. So he was one of the great rabbis of his time, famous rabbi and a learner, a talmid in the famous Yeshivat Bet El, the talmid of the Rosh Kodesh. I would recommend everyone to learn more with regards to Baal Shem Tov and his famous family. Friends, we're a community here. We're learning about great rabbis of yesteryear. We concentrated on a famous Ashkenazi rabbi, had very much strong connections with the Sephardi community at that point in time. He was part of the Hasidic movement in Eastern Europe and the famous brother-in-law of the Baal Shem Tov. Friends, everyone subscribe to the channel now. We're coming close to 7,000 subscribers on this channel. We're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of these great rabbis we're speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more. If you feel anyone's interested in watching these videos, share these videos to other people also. So wishing all a Shabbat Shalom. Take care and be well. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening.